finally we meet. This is
Indeed.
great. What's it been like for the last couple of months, man? Because I know I took a look at your tour schedule and I saw all of these dates.
In a word, Jeff, it's been surreal, is what it
Yeah,
is. This year.
yeah,
We do shows in a venue, and then we find out it's sold out very quickly, and then they want us to come back. And we're doing a couple of venues. We're doing the same venue 3 times in 1 year, and they're all like 1,000, 1,200 seaters, and we're selling out. We're so blessed, Jeff. We're so blessed. Or me, the guys, the whole team, and I've got. It's hard to explain how something so what word can I use? Innocence, not the right word, but in a pure is the right word. How the whole thing started was
yeah,
it was all about playing music. It was about music. It wasn't about business. It wasn't about money. It was about playing music. And we're so blessed that it's a testament that I believe if you stay true to something, it doesn't matter whether it's
yeah,
music, marriage, love,
yeah,
family. If your intention is in the right place,
yeah,
you cannot lose. You
yeah.
cannot lose.
Everything else follows.
Doesn't
And
it?
you
Yeah.
put the right things and you put the, because we talked a little bit about positive energy and just putting that out into the world. And you get that back when you're consistently trying to give than to receive, which is what you guys do.
Yep.
Every time you put a video out every Friday, all the work you put into it. I mean, I know what goes on behind the scenes to do what you guys do. It's not trivial. It's no joke. And you guys, I know you don't go around broadcasting the amount of effort and the struggles of doing what you do because you just don't want anyone to carry that burden. You want to carry that burden. Everyone
Yeah.
else gets all the frosting on top.
I say to my guys, I say if we win, we share it. If
Yeah.
there's a mess up, I wear it.
Oh,
It
wow.
has to be. And I think, getting back to that subject about integrity and staying true to it. Look at someone like Leonid and Friends. You look at that, that is an absolutely amazing, amazing story.
Yeah.
Out of Russia
Yeah.
slash Ukraine slash that region, to be
Crazy.
playing the music that they're playing as well as they play it. And I've had conversations with Roman, Leonard's
Yeah.
son, on
Yeah.
a few occasions. I mean, there's no way that could have succeeded the way that it has succeeded
Yeah.
unless their motivation was about the music. That is
Totally.
a fantastic story for me
Yeah.
because in Australia, I know personally, American music has absolutely shaped how I listen to music, how I arrange, how I produce, how I play,
Wow.
all of those things. But
Wow.
we've had so much access to American music since we were kids. And you look at someone like, Leonard, who's probably my age, maybe a little older,
Mhm.
to be doing what he's done to make that impact. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
hats off. For me, those guys, he's the poster child of what we do in this realm, be it HSCC, be it Leonard, be it Foxes, and be it
Fossils.
Lexington. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
the main 3 or 4. I
Right.
mean, they're just great stories. But those guys have got to be singled out for
Yeah.
extra credit to cross the boundaries and the borders that they have. And I had a great conversation with Roman not that long ago. There was talk of doing a double header, HSCC
Oh my
and
gosh.
Friends, and
Oh,
we thought about it, and it's like, man, that could be that's a big one, but
yeah.
yeah. And anyways, I was saying before I digress, which I'll dive. Don't worry about that. That is pure proof positive of when you do something for the right intention.
Yeah. And the support comes, whether it's money, whether it's gigs, whatever it is, somehow when you're doing things for the right reason, you're putting your heart into it,
Oh, so
it
true.
manifests itself, man, because the
So
money it's a reality. You gotta have money to have the freedom to do the things that you want to do. If you don't have the money, you can't do those things.
correct.
But when you're able to do what you do with the passion, you do it and do it for the right reason, somehow just because of the way things work. You get taken care of in that way. And
that's a great analogy, because every time HSCC has always been a guild, a collective of musicians that have come in and out, and the touring lineup that we have now, I mean, that effectively is HSCC. That, and everyone else that comes in and plays on tracks, they come in, and there'll be times when some of these guest singers and performers, they'll come out on the road with us. It's an inevitability.
right.
But every time, like some of our fan base, if they attach themselves to a certain artist or singer or performer, and they'll do a dozen, 10, 15, 20 songs, whatever, and then that was the length of their journey. That was the train. That's the station that they get off now.
Right.
And a lot of fans, where are they? What are they doing? Whatever. But in theory, when you have a band that hits the road, people like familiarity. They like who they're seeing. And I have to explain that's not their journey. The journey is who's ever on with us. That's the people that are on board at that moment.
Right.
And in theory, when that happens, you should lose followers. You should lose fans. You should lose some of your. But every time, and there's been a dozen of our performers that I could say, look, people wanted them around. But in a normal band situation, there's all the musicians that are listening. That generally is the precursor to a band breaking up.
Yeah. Right.
And every time with HSCC, and it gets back to what you said, it manifests itself correctly if it's done with the right motivation. The path just continually gets open.
Yeah.
And we all make jokes about it on the road. They say, I'm a bit of a hard, well, no, I am a hard taskmaster. My guys work really, really hard.
But you kind of need to be, though,
Yeah, and they, at the end of the day, I believe in the theory, everybody has to serve somebody. And all of us in HSCC, be it from the band to the support crew, we all serve that little oval brand, that little HSCC.
Yeah.
That's who we answer to. They don't answer to me. They don't answer to our promoters. They don't answer to management.
Yeah.
That's what we all answer to. And as long as we're true to that, it continues to give back.
But you got to have one guy. There's got to be the guy. There's got to be, like we had joked about earlier about the hub, and there's got to be somebody who is connecting all the spokes and making that wheel move forward. And that's you. And I was going to say that there is one consistency in HSCC. That's you, in all the videos, which is before I really knew who you guys were, and I was starting off doing reaction videos of you guys when I was calling you the Hindley Street Country Club. I got corrected by that pretty quickly, by the way. It's Hindley, you idiot. But I immediately I recognized that you were the guy. And I don't know how I figured that out, but it's like, I thought, I bet it's the bass player. And then maybe I got influenced by Leonid Friends because he's the guy. But I had a feeling that it was you.
And my guys, the touring lineup, as I said earlier, which is effectively now the core of the session lineup.
Yeah.
Stellar. People think that we spend, days and days rehearsing for a track. We don't. This is where I'm very fortunate, because I'm playing with players that are at that level. And I say to them, Rick, okay, like when we released Take It to the Limit, just the other day. Yeah. And, there wasn't a case of, hey, listen, guys, there's all these intricate harmonies and there's a lot going on in that song because there's so much air, Yeah. And I just say to the guys, and this has been from day one of HSCC's existence. We're doing, like as in this instance, we're doing Take It to the Limit, or we're doing whatever song we're doing, Baker Street or whatever. And this is a song, learn the song. So these guys have got to learn it on their own time at home.
Right.
So they learn. I said, we learn the song, and then basically when you get to the session, forget the song. Just forget the song. And I say, we're going to keep this section. We'll throw a chord sub in here. We'll change the rhythm there. We'll play the arrangement here. I want you to do this. And it's, even though I arrange the tunes and produce the tunes, it's still, I say to the guys, it's certainly not an autocracy where that's how it is. It's not like it's a lot like a Steely Dan situation where the bones of everything is there, and then you get the right players.
Yeah.
And we could just be going through some changes, and someone will do something. Oh, and then okay, let's leave that in there. So it's very much a group effort in that respect. And we run the track 2 or 3 times. We'll say, okay, someone's getting this harmony. I always get the real low stuff because I don't have a range. So it's everyone fits in the. And I got Brad, my drummer, who sang "Take the Long Way Home."
Yeah, great job. Beautiful.
If there's ever a word as world class, it's him to play like that.
I think I've seen him play drums before. I mean, I've made comments about your drum mix because that's freaking stellar. I was like blown away.
Savin, yeah. Pete Savin does all our mixes. Goodness, that you realize you listen to the early stuff, and now you listen to the stuff of the last 18 months, 2 years, and you're talking the golf is.
My God.
It's Pete Savin's the man, I tell you.
Yeah. And then I saw him sing this, and I was like, oh my, this was really good. It's one of my favorites from you guys, because I love the song in the first place, and you guys just did it justice. And then the next video, he's on drums. I'm like, wait a minute. He's the drummer? Like that was, multi-talented.
That's a classic example. That was 3 takes. We kept the second take. So we just run the tune 2 or 3 times, maybe 4, because I'd like to do this and do that. And we say, okay, look, we don't want to overdo it. So let's press record. We record it and film it, of course. And then we'll do 1 or 2 takes, one or two or 3 passes. We say, okay, which is the one that we like the best? But we go old school. If we're playing the track and someone makes a mistake, back to the top.
Oh, wow.
So everything is one continuous take.
Oh, it could be a long night.
But that's the crack up. We never spend more than 45 minutes on a track. Ever.
So you don't do any comping of the video and the audio, which I know that it's possible to do. Is that you do? Let's say you do, 5 takes, and then you take the best of each section. And if you're playing to a click, you can easily do that. But you guys are like,
no, our videos have no click, no sequencing. That's why people, sometimes you get comments, and from your channel and other music channels like ours, they say, see, it took you guys 11 people to record a tune that has 5 people. Well, no, they don't understand overdubbing, obviously. So
silly.
How am I supposed to get, when there's multiple keyboard sounds going on in a track? I've got to get 2 keyboard players.
Yeah.
Or I've got to get 2 guitar players, one to comp underneath so you don't lose the drive sound, as an example.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why a lot of our videos sometimes have a cast of thousands, because those integral parts can only be done by one person, because we don't overdub.
Right. Wow. So that truly is a one shot. It's just you're deciding which one of the 3 we're going to take, and that goes up.
Here's a funny story.
Oh,
Pete, our engineer, right, based out of New York, he was doing such a great job and does a great job. I said, look, Pete, to thank you, let me buy you a ticket. Come from New York. Come and watch what we do. Come and spend a week with us. He stayed with me, and just see for yourself. Anyway, he gets into the studio where we were recording, and that's him actually playing guitar on Head Over Heels and piano.
Oh, cool.
So we're in there, and Pete says to me, and I'll spare you the New York accent because I'm not good. He said, man, I can't believe that what the stuff that you send me is exactly like you send me. He said it freaks me out. So for a guy like him to say, man, you record that all in one take, like, and there's no like a couple of other channels that I know, they overdub and they think people can't hear, and the average person can't hear, but musicians can hear. Musicians can hear. But when you got a girl like Kat, my singer,
the singer,
has perfect pitch.
Yeah. Oh God.
Brad on drums has perfect pitch.
Oh my God.
Then you got guys like Danny who's just got this beautiful, lush, rich tone. Is that if they've got perfect pitch and they're a 10 out of 10, he's a 9.5 out of 10. And then
who is the, sorry to interrupt you, but who is the suave gentleman that sang the Bowie tune, that sang Heroes?
That's Danny. That's Danny.
Oh,
ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah. And so you got
beautiful.
Yeah, then you got Jordan, who who's the youngest one of the band, who sings up in the stratosphere. So you got guys like me who go in and throw a harmony underneath. My backside's going like that because
Right.
you don't get your note. They're looking at you because they're that. People don't realize just the HSCC vocalists, how actually good they really are. And when we were in Manila last week doing this, we go to Manila, Jeff.
Yeah.
We didn't know what to expect. It was our first headlining gig overseas. We'd done private shows in Europe and other parts of the world. That some we're not even allowed to talk about. Because they've got to sign NDAs because they're influential.
Right.
People. So we don't.
Right. Yeah.
So we go to the Philippines. We get met at the airport, and we're a bunch of us Australians by and large are very self-deprecating. They're like the British. We don't ever take ourselves seriously, and all very Anyway, we get into town. And this, now keep in mind I'm 57, right? And most of the guys are in their 50s, and the rest are in their 30s and 40s.
Yeah. Yeah.
We get into Manila, and there's security guys waiting for us. We get marched through the diplomatic channel, and they don't have to go through immigration. We get outside the airport. There's these blacked out vans,
Oh my.
Blacked out black vans. You open the door, and they open the door. They take all your gear. They won't let you touch anything. Inside the vans, there's these beautiful big, black leather seats that you're sitting inside. There's karaoke in the van.
Oh, got champagne.
We get it. Now we're all laughing at this point, right? We're laughing, and we get into the hotel, and it's a beautiful hotel. Anyway, after doing a bunch of press and all that, we go to the gig, right? We go to the gig, and I walk into the room, Jeff, and there was 23 people on the stage, just getting the stage ready from riggers. We do this gig, and there's catering, there's security guards.
Oh my God.
There's security guards out the front of every one of our rooms, so no one could get in. It was just ridiculous. And then we do the show, and we knew it was selling well, but we didn't expect it to be like it was. So anyway, started up, and we opened up with Easy Lover.
Oh, great. Great.
The Filipino people, the amount of love that was thrown back at us, and their perfect singing, let me hasten to add, right? It was just it was one of the most unbelievable moments in my musical career.
Oh my God.
40-something years.
Oh.
They give so much back. So much back. And we're getting off stage, at the end of the show, and we did 2.5 hours straight. We could have done another 2.
Wow.
They just want to just keep.
That's a real show, man. That's
a
lot.
It's a long. Anyway, they start talking after the show. You do all the meet. We did 400 meet and greets. 400 meet and greets.
That's a lot of handshaking. Did you have Perel nearby?
Yeah, he was the crack up with all of that. If any of the musicians in America or around the world that are listening to this that have traveled, you realize that throughout Asia and the world, the Filipino bands are always the bands that are in the hotel bars. Oh. Filipino bands are all over the world, and they sing great, they play great. Yeah. All of them. I mean, the guy from Arnel from Journey was found in a bar in the Philippines.
Right.
So you're talking, there's just like a litany of wonderful performers.
Yeah, they're falling out of the trees over there, and it's like nobody knows who they are.
And it gets back to what I'm saying to the early part of the conversation.
Yeah.
When you got a couple of thousand Filipinos coming to your show and spending $120 a ticket, American.
Wow.
In a third world economy.
Wow.
Show you the reach, getting back to what I said about Leonid and Friends, and mentioned about our tour dates, and 2025 will be even busier for us than 2024 internationally as well. And that it's still to this day, because it's been a week now. It was the most surreal experience, but it shows you the power of intention, the power of motivation, the power of what is supposed to be your path, and the power of music, that it reaches all corners of the globe. And I say it's part of the monologue in the show that only 2.9% of we've got about 1.8 billion views across YouTube,
Yeah.
Multiple channels, TikTok, Facebook,
Right.
and 2.9%, Jeff, are from Australia.
Really?
2.9%. You guys are our biggest market, followed by Philippines and Brazil.
Wow. Wow.
Ridiculous. And that's the power of what we do. And like I was going to say, like when we spoke last week, I said, even what you do, mate, it's so the reaction videos are so good because there's reaction videos where people are going,
Yeah.
wow, oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's not many like you that are a musician that do them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why things like you, like Stratele Studios, Rick Beato,
Rick. Yeah.
guys are taken seriously.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
I agreed to do this.
Oh, dude. I mean, that really means a lot to me. It's very affirming for me also because like what's funny about this is that I never watched reaction videos. I accidentally fell into this and I started to do them.
But did you accidentally fall into it? Because that gets back to what I was saying earlier.
That's a good point. That's a good
That's what
point.
you do.
It could have been my destiny from the beginning. I didn't know.
There
And
you
and
go.
so one thing leads to another. You climb another rung on the ladder, and then you find yourself in a place and you go, how did I get here? That's how I feel right
Totally
now.
get that.
But I'm
Totally get
blessed. I'm blessed by people like you and the viewers on the channel, the relationships that I've made. I mean, that is beyond any kind of monetary compensation because you really don't get a lot of money doing this. I mean, you spend a lot of time. I'm a software engineer during the day. So that's my bread and butter job. This thing is just my passion. It's my love.
yeah.
It's and I'm finding the fact that I'm able to connect to people like you and the others that I've connected with, that's that's the value. That is the payoff for me is getting to have friends that are like doing incredible things like you and the band are doing. And that for me is it makes it all worthwhile. That's the payoff for me
And man,
is that.
it's like you said earlier, it's all those steps that you've taken to get to even like what we're doing now. It continues to manifest in the
Yeah.
correct fashion.
Right.
And
Right.
you'll agree with me, its own life force. And you can't stop it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Even if you stopped it now, Jeff, it would continue on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
the beauty of it.
Totally, man.
And
Oh,
you might find one day you'll wake up and you'll be having to make a decision between job
yeah.
and this.
Yeah.
What a wonderful position to be in at our age.
I know exactly, dude. When I don't know where I picked this up from, but you had said I think it was another interview that you did, podcast, I think, and you had said I'm pushing 60, and my head blew off. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, what? I,
Mm.
dude, I mean, you keep yourself really good, and I know you've got. I mean, and we could get into this right now, but there's other stuff. I have questions already up
Yeah,
here, but
go.
I want to get in and ask you about this because. Um, you seem to be a health conscious guy because you take care of yourself. It looks like that's important to you. As you're standing up there in that stance with that bass, you look so solid. You look so healthy. You look like you really take care of yourself. Do you have like a health regimen? And to do all this touring too.
These are excellent questions for men of our age because there's men of our age that are watching this channel right now.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no way I could do what I do daily when I do probably, and I'm not exaggerating, probably 16 to 17 hours a day just on HSCC. Literally, even if I train or whatever, the phone is never turned off. It's a 24/7 business. If I didn't eat well, I
Yes.
wouldn't have the wherewithal to continue.
Yeah.
I'm a workaholic too. I'm the
Yeah.
first to admit it. And I
Yeah.
might have the odd, I say to the guys, bitching and moaning and complaining and body sore, tired, want to sleep. But I wouldn't change it, Jeff.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't. Some people are just geared that way,
Yeah.
And I tell you, who was it that said, do a job you love and you never have to work a day again in your life? It's
Yeah.
true.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah, it is very true. So I got to know, what was it like for little Con growing up? What was your life like? No, I think that you're from Adelaide, right? I mean,
Correct.
you grew up there, and I rumor has it that from my notes here, your father was Macedonian, your mother was Greek,
Correct.
and you. What was your life like growing up as a kid, and how did music affect you and come into your life as a young guy?
No one in my family was musical per se, but
Mm.
my father used to have, those not not even the quarter inch, the little tapes, and you put the reels on.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Although dad had them, and so
yeah.
I don't know how he recorded it, but he'd have them. He just left one line around. I turned it on, and it was music. But my dad was into stuff like Dion, Run Around
Yeah.
Sue, Wanderer, great
Oh,
stuff. Gee,
yeah.
that was stuff. It was, and in hindsight, that was endemic of the music that the migrants that when they came to Australia, they listened to American music.
Wow.
And so that was the one
Wow.
common denominator with all those tunes. If you actually listen to them, and even like the Bill Haley stuff, they're
Yeah.
really great shuffles.
Yeah.
They're really groovy, really big pockets.
Right.
The Macedonian side of the family was the music was very Balkan, and then the
Mm.
Greek side with all the odd time signatures, it was already
Yes.
it's all and
Wow.
very all that semitone modes and stuff, which were a little bit they're not basic major and minors. So I
Yeah.
think all that together,
Oh,
and then I went through a big phase in my mid-teens
yeah.
of like I found a Bob Marley record.
Oh, oh, you
Found
went that
a
way.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
found a Bob Marley record, and that jing, jing,
Oh,
and I think ultimately the one, if I was to put one common thread on everything that I listened to that influenced me growing up, it was all very rhythmically based,
yeah.
heavy rhythms.
Yeah.
So
So
these drums,
you could have been a drummer too. I mean, it's
I played drums before I played bass.
there you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's where that comes from. You got to have that that feel in the
and
music.
it's not an uncommon story of the first generation migrants. There was just
Yeah.
music, food, and arguing. That's what we did.
Food
That's
and
all,
argument.
different than the Italians. We don't raise our voice because we're angry. We raise our voice. We're just passionate. It's just
That's great.
you
Oh, I
love hard,
love
you hate
that.
hard.
Oh, I love that, dude. That's so great. Oh man. So like when did you decide like for bass, how did it become that bass was the instrument that was calling to you and that this was the thing you settled into?
And you're right, because it calls you. You think you
Yeah.
call it. You
Yeah,
don't.
no,
It's
it
you.
calls you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I honestly, I think it was something as simple and as innocuous as they needed someone to play bass one time and no one was around.
Oh, really? And guitar players, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a guitar
Yeah.
player. So yeah.
And it happened so quickly, Jeff, because I'm not musically trained. If you ask me how to, sight read dots, no. Basically, so I
Oh,
can read and
no,
chord problem, but I'm
I was
not
going to
trained.
ask you about that if you had an education in music.
No,
So
no.
that's your
Wish I
self-taught.
did. I wish I did, but then I think to myself, had I gone down that road, would I then sound like everybody else that's been trained?
It's a
You know what I
different.
mean? Look at someone
Well,
like look at Pino Palladino or Lewis Johnson. That they can't read a note of music.
Pino's one of the best freaking
Oh,
bass players alive. This guy's got a feel like
everything.
nothing, nobody else.
And then you get guys like Nathan East who are
Yeah.
trained up the wazoo, who can read
Yes.
music from 40s. And then there's another monster,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I like to think, I did what I took a bit of Nathan, I took a bit of Pino in
Yeah.
the 80s. I took a lot of Lewis Johnson. I took
Yeah.
Anthony Jackson, still
Yeah.
the
Oh
still
yeah.
the
Yeah.
best
Yeah.
ever.
Groove player.
You
Yeah.
take a bit of all of those guys, and somehow you find your own sound amongst it all.
I mean, that's what it ends up being, right? For every musician, is that you're just a mishmash of all the
Yeah,
things you love, and that
agreed.
becomes who you are. You're never really stealing or emulating anyone because it's just a melting pot of all the stuff
Mm.
that you love to
And
play.
certain styles just resonate with your
Yeah.
soul.
Yeah.
Just certain things. I mean, everyone. Jacko is like the god of bass.
Right.
Just could never get into it. I
Yeah.
don't know whether it was because of that. It was the back pickup thing and
Right.
basically everything he did was a solo. And do you know what I mean? I never got into it.
Absolutely.
He's just he was a freak.
So let's talk about the origin story
Yeah.
of the Hindley Street Country Club. So let's talk a little bit about the name to start with. And I already know, but the viewers may not
Mm.
know about this, but I find this just so funny, dude. And I love the fact that you decided on this name for the reason that you did. So go ahead and tell my viewers how this name came about.
When the whole project started, when it was going to go to YouTube, yeah, it was just decided that, well, it has to be named. And so I thought to myself, well, if we're going to name it, at least keep it something that's local, because it was only just designed to be for us, right?
Yeah,
As I was concerned, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It wasn't a vehicle to get work or anything like that. As far as I
right,
was concerned, as long as you,
right.
like we said earlier, keep it true and all of that
Yeah,
kind of,
yeah.
no problem. But in Hindley Street in Adelaide, in South Australia, is like the Hell's Kitchen of New York. It's like Skid
Yeah.
Row. It's where all the seedy bars are. Back then in the 80s when we were working there, it was biker bars, tattoo. There was, ladies of the night, and
Right.
it was just a shitty part of town. And it still is. It still is.
It
Even in,
still is.
yeah, it's still a shitty part of
You
town.
haven't
It's
brought any legitimacy to this street through
oh,
your band.
oh, except when the American tourists come to town and they walk up so we can't find the country club. Like, no,
I can't find the country
happens
club.
regularly. They come to town and they go looking for it. But
Oh, that's great.
and because Hindley Street was anything but that,
Yeah.
it was anything but the civility and the order and the structure of a country club.
The
It was just
sophistication and the elegance and yeah.
we do gigs, at Hindley Street. I do a gig starting at 10 o'clock, finish at 1, and then go a couple of 100 meters up the road and do another one that started at 3 in the morning, and you're lucky to
Oh,
10 to 6. Yeah, back in
oh,
the young days.
brutal.
So it's just no, it was
Oh God.
it's a it's like saying the Sahara Yacht Club.
Yeah.
That's a words.
Yeah.
But when I thought about the name, I thought if I'm going to name this thing, I need to name it so that eventually, if anyone wants to go and type it in, there'll
Yeah.
be the trillions of things on the internet.
Oh, no
Be
one's
one
got it.
country club.
No one's got it. And the
So
fact that you named it, country club, the connotation of it being a club with members coming in and out, very
yeah,
smart. Very
all of
smart, man.
that was certainly all planned.
Yeah.
That was all planned. It was almost like it was fun. It gets back to the Australian self-deprecation thing of, well, you've got to be a member of this club. You've got to be able to play.
Little tongue in cheek, kind of like,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot of taking, as the British they call it, taking the piss. There's a lot of
taking the
tongue.
piss. Oh my gosh. So are you like, did you start it, or how did the whole thing like start when
Oh,
like you were
yeah.
you're already doing covers, like you were like playing in bands and stuff,
Well,
and
I
you're
was all
doing,
over. I was all over Asia and China. I was working for the Hard Rock cafes and five-star
oh,
hotels in my younger days, and I just had a really good grounding of what cover songs work. I knew what songs work and what don't. Generally, when I pick a tune, they all work because
oh,
in some way, shape, or form, they have to resonate. So I came back to town, and then another guy that originally started this with me, he said, can you come in and I want to do some videos online to
oh,
help
gotcha.
the other bands to come in and record live
Oh,
videos to
oh,
to earn some money.
I see. I
The
see.
stuff in that room was pretty basic, but it was what it was. It was innocent. It was
Yeah.
innocent.
Yeah.
Um, and then I said, no problem, but me being me, I'll pick the tunes, I'll do the arrangements,
Mhm.
I'll make sure I get the right players because I have access to that knowledge and that intellectual property.
Right.
And that's all it was. And then just kept on pumping out tunes because it was fun. It was fun. And then
Awesome.
it just continued to grow and continued to grow. And then no one can say that was planned because it wasn't. It
And
wasn't planned.
how long ago was that? It was the
November of
beginning.
November of 2017. Even through COVID,
20,
Jeff. Yeah.
2017.
Not
And what
missed.
happened? What did you guys do during COVID?
We had a few in the bank. We
Oh,
recorded some,
okay.
and then doing some remote stuff. And we may or may at different times of the lockdown, you could move it around or you could not. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? So
Hmm.
I'm a very a big proponent of being clever with your use of time because it's
Yeah.
it's a finite resource.
Yeah.
So we just sometimes, you know, we got a bit cheeky. It did it in times when, you know, maybe you weren't supposed to, but
Yeah. What's crazy is though, like when you're doing this, because I know from my channel as well, is that you set these you know, goalposts, or you set these landmarks that you want to hit. Oh man, if I could only get to 10,000 pop. Oh, okay. If I could only get to 50,000, you keep this keeps going like this, like this. And then you're like, you guys are over 1 million subs, right? On YouTube. Just on YouTube.
YouTube, yeah.
Over 1 million subs.
Yeah.
That's not an easy thing to do, brother. I mean,
No, no, it isn't. I think
especially for this, doing what you do to get 1 million subs. I mean, you know, you have your Rick Beatos, you know, and that kind of a channel, and what he does and his interviews and the people he brings on, and just, you know, his wealth of knowledge, and you know, all of this stuff. And then you're like, okay, I get it. You know, he's been working hard at it. He's up, you know, above 1 million. He's got a couple channels with 2 millions or something by now, I guess.
yeah.
But then when you sit back and think and strip everything away, you got to be tripping out a little bit by saying, this is a band that plays other people's music, and there's 1 million subscribers who want to see us play other people's music. And that, man, there's magic in what you guys are doing.
There's a lot of good fortune too, you know.
Yeah.
I think at the moment we're doing 25,000 new subscribers every 28 days.
Oh yeah.
That's new people. That's wow. New one. And it's a crack up because, you know, one of my singers might take a break for 4 or 5 weeks where I don't use them. I had a good joke with Dan. We talk about it with Danny a lot when we're in the car, when we're driving. And there was a period there where Danny had to have 3 months off.
Oh.
So I said, no problem, Dan. So we recorded a bunch of tunes. So we had him. Anyway, so there was a period there of about 11 weeks where Danny wasn't on a track. And Danny's been like, Danny, Kat, and Jordan, they're the mainstays, right? And Danny wasn't on a track for like 3 months.
Yeah.
After 2 weeks on our comment threads, because I get about, I don't know, 6,000 or 7,000, up to 10,000 comments a month. And I respond to every one of them.
Oh my God.
I either like or every single one of them.
Yeah, right.
And where's Danny?
Where's Danny?
Second week.
They're tracking you.
Yeah, this is great. Second week, we miss Danny.
Oh my God.
Third week, is Danny coming back?
Oh my gosh.
Danny must have left the band. Maybe there's problems. Danny should have sung that song. Anyway, so 11 weeks goes by, right, Jeff?
Oh my God.
Weeks. Now, if you think about it, 12 weeks, you've probably done another, what would it be? Oh, let's say you did, 3 months. Let's say you did another 40 or 50,000 subscribers, right?
Yeah.
You got 50,000 new people.
Yeah.
That they're new to the channel since Danny's last song.
Yeah.
He comes on and does a song. Wow, how great's this guy? We've never seen him before.
You got to keep this guy.
Yeah, and that's one of the real fun things about what we do, and that's why I see when I look at, you know, other similar projects to HSCC, and they write, some of the channel owners write back to the people and have a go at them, mate. Don't have a go at anybody. Just don't say anything. No, your comment is another comment off of a comment. And that's why with our channel, anyone that says anything derogatory about the channel or the song or the people or past members, delete. Boop. You can have that. You can have that toxicity in your life. Don't bring it into our family.
Amen.
Even with
brother.
ex-members too, ex-members of HSCC. You say something derogatory, or, you know, so-and-so was better, or, you know, you guys are much better than before, and delete.
No good.
Don't need
it.
Don't need it.
No good. You know, it's interesting, and you and I touched on this a little bit on the phone when we were chatting, and I was, you know, just thinking about that there are not literally two kinds of people in the world, but there's definitely people who are ones who want to give positivity to the world, give love to the world, fill the world with as much goodness as you possibly can. But then there's other people who are like this cancer, where it's like they want to get in there, destroy. They want to break down. They want to criticize in a negative way, in a disrespectful way. And it's like, I don't get that. I don't understand that at all. I can't even get my brain to think of how that could be satisfying for anybody. It's satisfying to help somebody, it's satisfying to make somebody laugh. It's satisfying to make them cry because you played music for them. That's satisfying. But to go and tell somebody, that's crap. Somebody else did it better. Your channel sucks. That song is not very good. You shouldn't have done that song, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is the currency of that? What do you get out of that? What's the value?
Nothing good comes out of it. And
nothing
it's like,
good comes
it's
out
nothing
of
it. It's the same as, like all the old people back in the village used to say, you got to nip it in the bud early.
Yeah.
That's the first thing, as much as it hurts.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, if you even so much as smell something potentially cancerous inside your sphere, you've got to get it out quick, smart. And HSCC has done that. It's got rid of cancer on more than one occasion. And it's evident that it was cancer. Do you know how? Because it continues to flourish and grow.
Right.
That's how you know.
Yeah. It's so true, dude. You take margins, you cut it out, you take the margins and you cut it out, because that is exactly what I do. It's a no troll zone.
Excellent.
On my channel. That's my house, brother. That's my house. Everyone's welcome to come to my house. Please come to my house. Let's sit down. Let's talk about music. Let's share music. Let's get emotional about it.
Break some bread. Yep, all of that.
Break some bread. And I welcome everybody. I don't care who you are, where you come from, what part of the world you come from. Come in. Speak a different language. I got Google Translate. I don't care. Come sit with me.
Yeah.
As soon as that guy comes in, I spot him. You can smell these guys when they come in. And I'm like,
you can smell intention, Jeff, that's what you can smell. Like you said, what's your motivation? Well, do you feel good that you've been sitting in your basement while your wife's upstairs watching TV, making some comment? Really? You feel empowered now, do you, mate? Knock yourself. I wish nothing but the best for you.
So let's talk a little bit about, so I think we touched on this a little bit about the musicians. And so you probably have it, and we talked about this a little bit about, but I want the viewers to know how you manage this, because it's like, you must know a lot of musicians, because when you decided on a song, you're like, okay, who's going to be the best guys? You got your core guys, but then, it'd be nice to have this person singing lead, or it'd be nice to have this guy play a harmonica, because nobody plays a harmonica. How do you manage the personnel?
Sometimes it boils down to something as simple, Jeff, as availability. Sometimes some of these guys are not available to record on that night, because we do generally 2 to 3 sessions a night, 2 to 3 tracks in a session, and we'll do, say, 6 over 2 nights or 4 over 2 nights. So I've got them in the bank. But the reality is, almost everyone that's played on a HSCC track, they're very versatile. They can play different styles. But if there's a guy that, specializes, like, here's an example. We bring our guitar player, Jake, really good, versatile, all-round player, good sound, good tone, good ears, all of that kind of stuff, good listener. But there might be a track where, let's say we do something that's maybe like a Steve Vai kind of solo, or a Lukather kind of solo, right? I bring in another guy. We used a mate of ours, Dan Briotta. That's what he does. He loves Neil Schon. That's his bag. So when he comes to the session, he's got the sound dialed up. He's got the right sound. He knows the track because he's played it a million times. So the sessions go even quicker.
Wow.
You know what I mean? If I need something that's really, like when we did something that borders on jazz, like be it Giro or Anita Baker, something that's a bit more on the, I need something.
Right.
And I use another guy, a guy by the name of James Muller. But you've got to have guys like, in my situation, like Jake, who plays everything well.
Yeah.
But can't play everything well, Jeff, and then be a virtuoso at one. You just can't. You can't bring Steve Vai to come and play a Paul Jackson Jr. funk line on a Michael Jackson album.
Yeah, you gotta have meat
You
potatoes guy.
can, but it just won't. It just people that know.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
because
so
they're technicians. They're guys who are technicians.
correct. Yeah.
And then there are guys that are like meat and potatoes guys who know like 1,000 songs off the top of their head and play it dead right. And it's like they're different kinds of players. So, you know, why get the wrong guy to do it when you can call this other guy who just comes in and does that one
And
shot?
I also do it just, to keep things fresh every now and again. And, not many people now in the last 3 years get called up to do HSCC sessions.
Yeah.
That are not, at that level. I mean, now, from in the early days to now, like I've got proper keyboard players now, guys that can play.
Yeah.
So
how do you, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Be it percussion. I mean, there's only one real guy in town, in Adelaide, that plays percussion how I want it played. And again, it gets back in a way to how do I hear that track? How do I hear that singer doing that track? Do I get so-and-so on this track? I mean, like as an example, Danny could have very easily, or Jordan even more so, could have sung Take the Long Way Home, which I got Brad to sing. Right. Very easy.
They could,
but now,
right?
Now that you've heard "Take the Long Way Home," and Brad did give a little bit, and "Don't Dream It's Over." You listen to it. Could there really been anyone else to have sung it?
No,
and that's where I'm fortunate.
That's the guy, because this is the guy. Which guy did it? And you've worked with these guys enough to know, and it's about fulfilling your vision for the song.
Yeah, and also too, I'm no Aretha Martin, I'm no Quincy Jones, my musical heroes, but just how I hear a track, Jeff, how I hear how it's played. You'll notice with HSCC, from the yesterday's track or the day before's track to what will come out in 6 months' time to what happened 3 or 4 years ago, there's a similarity in everything of every one of HSCC's track. There's just that how I hear it, where Brad puts it, or Ben Todd, my other drummer, puts it, or when I've used guys like Mark Meyer here in Adelaide, or even when Jordan plays drum, there's still, or Mario Marino, there's still a sameness about where the one is.
It's true.
There's just whatever. Even if we do Heroes, or we do a Trisha Yearwood song, or we do an R&B track, there's still, or foreigner track, there's still a sameness about everything that HS is.
That's true.
That's just where I hear it.
Wow. That's, you know what?
To do it.
That is really interesting. I really subconsciously thought that, but you saying it is a light bulb over my head, because you're absolutely right. That's the thing. When I come to your videos, it feels like you guys, whatever song that you're playing, it's still you. It feels like you guys. And I see a lot of these groups. I do a lot of bands that are doing other people's music on the channel. And it's like everyone's kind of got their own personality, like, Leonid Friends. It's the same kind of thing with them too.
When Leonard plays, or when the guys out of LLB play, Boxes and Fossils play, you immediately know it's them.
Exactly.
And you look at some of the greatest artists of the world. What's the one common denominator between Tina Turner, what's his name, Joe Cocker, Rod Stewart, the guy from Queen, Mercury, all those, some of those, the biggest names in the music, Bryan Adams. They're not necessarily unbelievable vocalists. Like the Bill Champlins of this world, or the singers of this world, the Celine Dion's of this world, but you know it's them. You immediately know it's them. Oh, that's Tina Turner. Oh, that's Rod Stewart. Oh, that's, whoever.
No matter what they're singing.
No matter what they're singing.
It's their voice, with the band.
Like, getting back to Leonard again, man, I know he doesn't release every week like we do, but those recordings, man, that's a big operation. You're talking about that is a big operation. Now with HSCC, people say, Con, how do you turn them over?
Yeah.
How do you do it so much? Well, if you allow for the 3 hours that we take to record 2 tracks, to record them, 20 minutes after we've recorded them, Jeff, they're already being emailed to New York City.
Yeah.
And within 7 or 8 hours, I've got the final track back. Do you know that?
Oh
By
my
the time
God.
Pete and I go back a bit more here, a bit less here, let's clean this bit up here and make it not so loud or whatever.
Yeah.
Each track takes about maybe 10 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And yet the quality and we record, you'd laugh your ass off if you saw how we record. And we're by Shore. They've given us so much gear.
That's awesome. They support you guys. That's great.
All the top of the line stuff. Every time something comes out, they give it to us.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know how expensive mics can be alone.
Oh yeah.
And we record into like a Mackie 32, like a remote thing, and then through the computer through an app, right? So it's all very, very basic.
Yeah.
So last week when we were in Manila, we did a couple of collaborations with a couple of really very, very well-known Philippine artists, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I booked this studio. I didn't know anything about this studio, We booked into the studio, and I didn't go into the control room first. I went straight and just got my gear set up because we record with ears. We don't use really amps these days.
Okay.
We go into the recording studio. We're talking in a backstreet suburb of Manila.
Yeah.
Right. And there was this SSL desk.
Yeah.
I've looked at my guy and I said, "Is that an SSL?" He says, "Yeah." So I start laughing.
Oh
right?
my God.
You need like almost rails to get from one end of this desk to the other.
Right.
And just last night we did a version of Journey's Steve Perry's Foolish Heart. Right? Which I'll send to you after we get off this interview.
Yeah.
You can hear just from an SSL desk to how we record on an Apple Mac. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a world away.
Yeah.
Like it was, say, 30 or 40 years ago.
Yeah.
But now you just hear the richness and all the nuances which you hear in our recordings anyway, because we make sure you hear them.
Yeah.
Because he's actually an artist, not just a sound engineer.
Right.
You hear these things and you think, how did these bands take 6, 7, 8 months to record 12 or 15 tracks, which they whittle down to 11 on the album?
Right.
We can knock them out in a week.
Yeah.
In December, myself and a few of the other guys, we're going to Canada to do a recording for an artist in Canada. Because he wants the HSCC sound. So he's flying everyone up there, and we've got another SSL desk, and and had this out of control, world. I can't mention his name at the moment. This engineer that is, when you see his credits, you go, what? Like, what? And it gets back to what we're saying. It's surreal. What are we doing here? Tickets are booked. So it's, and I said to him, we'll knock out 4 of your tunes. They're his original tunes. We'll knock out 4 tunes in a couple of days.
Is he a singer, this guy?
And plays instruments as well.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a.
But he's hiring the new Wrecking Crew, brother.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that, because that was something else that was mentioned. And I said to him, I mean, you can afford Lucas, you can afford Ready Washington, you can afford all the names. He says, yeah, I can, because he can. I said, what are you doing with us? He says, I want that sound that you create. I said, well, you know that muscle comes from the, that's the rhythm. That's very much a rhythm section thing. He said, absolutely. Yeah. So it's resonating with people. We're just when I think, Jeff, that we've plateaued, sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. Yeah.
New doors open up.
We came back from Manila last week, and my phone has not stopped from some promoters all around the region saying, saw what happened in the Philippines. And I'm saying, how did you see what happened in the Philippines?
Right.
We're strong on our social platforms. We are. But
oh my God.
All these doors are opening that just when I think, okay, I've got a chance to have a break here.
Yeah.
No,